and welcome to the launch of the postgraduate diploma in English language teaching that we are offering starting in 2022 at Universidad ORT Uruguay. My name is Gabriel Diaz, and I'm the academic coordinator of the program. I'm also a team member of the Institute of Education here at the university, where I work both in the Masters in Education and in the Center for the Advancement of Higher Education, which is one of our teaching centers. I would like to thank everybody for attending today, and I'm going to explain the dynamics, a little bit of housekeeping. The idea is we're going to explain what the program is about. We're going to introduce the program. We're going to give you all the information that we have at our disposal. Some of our faculty members are here. Some others are either traveling, like Dr. Rebolledo is traveling from New York to Santiago at the moment, and other colleagues are either abroad or trying to arrive at home. I know it's work day, a weekday, and things are difficult for some of our colleagues, but most of them are here. You're going to hear from the faculty, and I think this is one of the strengths of this program, the widespread expertise of our members. And then we're going to open up the floor to questions and answers. How we're going to do that, if you look at, this is a webinar in Zoom, is not the regular Zoom conference. So you cannot use your mics or your cameras, but you can reach us through the Q&A button that you will see next to your chat. Okay, so I hope that you are able to ask us as many questions as you want regarding the program. And without further ado, let me start sharing screen. And the presentation is going to be entirely in English. However, institutionally, because we're a Uruguayan university, we have all our text on the webpage is in Spanish at the moment. But one thing you should all be aware of is that the program is entirely taught in English, of course. And basically, we have this open in Spanish for anybody who's interested as part of the postgraduates here at the Institute of Education. A postgraduate in English language teaching. This has been a very sorely felt need in the field in Uruguay for many years, to have a university level postgraduate specialization in English. And one of the things that moved us as a team to create this program, to send it to the Ministry of Education, to be formally and fully recognized as a postgraduate degree, is the fact that we teachers of English perform a variety of different roles after we graduate from our initial teacher education. We all diversify our careers, and if we have not yet done it, we want to do it. And honestly, in Uruguay up to now, there had been no program of the sort that would cater for your motivations in enhancing your career. The other thing is that initial teacher education, no matter how good it is, it can only cover a certain amount of knowledge, if you wish, or it can only cater for certain areas of knowledge in the profession that are those needed for to work in the classroom. But it cannot, because of time constraints and because we need a post-graduation kind of experience, formally kind of breach all these areas that we focus on. So, for example, teacher education, for example, materials design, for example, curriculum design, or the in-depth knowledge of different pedagogical proposals, of the current cutting-edge theories of second language acquisition, which have a tremendous impact on what we do in the classroom, and also how to work with things that are both part of being communicatively competent in a second language, but they are also contents to be studied. For example, culture. Culture as a vehicle for the dissemination of a particular mind frame, but also culture as this object that we can teach through English, and which we never do very well. Being interculturally competent is not just about learning the language or learning the culture of a certain English-speaking country, but being sensitive to what interchanges with many diverse people around the world, because English is no longer the purview of the inner circle countries. If you know what I mean, is basically those countries where English is the mother tongue. English is now a lingua franca. English as a lingua franca is a construct, a linguistic construct, and a reality. So many times we will need to be interculturally sensitive to communication with people who are not native speakers and who may come from very diverse backgrounds. Having said this, when we sat down to create this program, we actually spent almost a year and some time carefully researching the reality that we are faced with. And that reality is very much based on what research in the inner circle countries brings about. So if we look at whatever methods for teaching, frameworks for teaching, linguistic theories of language/culture, they all generally come from inner circle countries. However, there is a plethora of knowledge in Latin America that has not been fully tapped. There are wonderful examples of what English language teachers in Latin America have been doing for the past 20 years, which we think is time it got disseminated, it got communicated. So we have a very thorough grounding on the Uruguayan reality, what happens at the level of public education, private education, at the pre-primary, primary, secondary, and tertiary levels, because we have to have a look, a through thread look of the whole system. And also what is happening in the region, what is happening with our neighboring countries, where there have been incredible experiences that we have only heard about, but not formally learned about. What is happening in the rest of Latin America, and of course, we cannot lose sight of what's happening in the broader world. So our intention in creating a specific curriculum for this program brings three kinds of areas of knowledge, three domains of professional knowledge that we believe are essential to anybody working at postgraduate level in English language teaching, here in Uruguay, in the region, or in the world. The first one is an updated knowledge of second language acquisition and second language pedagogy. That doesn't mean just methodology, but also the different configurations that can coexist within a curriculum that propels not just English as an object of study, which used to be the norm in the past, but English as a means of communication. Having this updated knowledge about second language pedagogy and its related second language acquisition theories will help us gain a thorough grounding on what we call a learner-centered research and practice component. What is this learner-centered research and practice component? Well, basically, we know very little about what students bring to the act of learning a second or foreign language. So we're looking at theories that have to do with students' beliefs, their contributions to the learning process, but also the difficulties that they may encounter. And this particular area deals with special educational needs for English language learners, not general special educational needs. Is what specific difficulties may students encounter in English language classroom, and what particular learning differences there may be, like, for example, autism disorder or dyslexia, hyperactivity, attention deficit disorder, and what you can do as an English language teacher. Having those two strong groundings on the theory of how people learn, how people can be taught, what do people bring, we try to incorporate a context-sensitive and situated element of professional development. What do we mean by that? Well, basically, that this diploma is responsive to the needs of the context. So you will see in the curriculum that one of the subjects is specifically geared to the needs and wants of each of the different cohorts that we will receive at the diploma level, and then that may be enhanced at the master's level. This context-sensitive situated PD may include things like, for example, management of bilingual educational institutions, teacher education, the supervision of English language teachers, critical pedagogies in English language teaching, and other areas that may form the core of interest of our audiences. So we don't just preach, we pray as we preach. If we believe in learner-centered research and praxis, we needed to incorporate at the postgraduate level a space in the curriculum for your interests and motivations to come to bear and to be brought out into the open. We are very lucky to have a core of specialists in many different areas, and in a minute you're going to meet most of them. But what these three solid foundations, which form the core of the diploma program, help you achieve is something that has been theoretically and pragmatically valued as essential for teachers in the 21st century. And that became very, very evident during the pandemic. The issue of being adaptive experts. What is an adaptive expert? If you compare an adaptive expert to a routine expert does something well, but in the same way in every context in which they participate. And there's nothing wrong about that. The only different problem is, or difficulty is, that perhaps the actions of the routine expert may not be suited to the contexts in which they are working. An adaptive expert, on the other hand, possesses the knowledge, the skills, and more importantly, the dispositions to be able to adapt his or her knowledge to the work that they perform in different contexts and for different institutions. You may be thinking, but how about technology? Well, we don't consider that technology is a subject to be learned. Technology is one more tool for learning. So in each of the strands in our diploma course, you're going to be looking at technology specifically. For example, in the module on learning difficulties or learning special educational needs, to put it politically correctly, you're going to learn what kinds of technological applications will help you deal with different special educational needs. When we talk about situated language pedagogy, okay, what tools are there that can support your teacher education or your materials design or your curriculum design? So as you can see, my dear colleagues, we are thinking of a postgraduate degree that takes you one step further from the initial teacher education, that opens the window and the door to performing different roles in the profession, and that gives you both the pragmatic and the theoretical tools to be able to achieve the goals that you set yourselves to achieve. And we cannot forget that the most important thing is that this is a contribution, first and foremost, to the education of the youth in our country, to the children and teenagers and young people in our country. So that is the spirit with which we created this program. And I have been very, very fortunate to be able to work with an amazing team of collaborators. So what I'm going to ask my colleagues now is I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to ask my colleagues who are present to introduce themselves and to tell you what the role is in our diploma program. So over to you guys. Let's start. Nico, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So my name is Nicolas Antas, and I'll be part of the teaching community that will work in this program. I'll be focusing on didactics. That has been my area of expertise. Especially, we'll be working on the didactics from the more practical approach and concentrating on different aspects, especially what has happened with the communicative revolution. So it's quite an adventure that we'll be experiencing, analyzing, discussing recent methodology and pedagogy, and how all that has affected us and affects our students, and how it will affect the future. So basically, that will be me. I'll pass it on to someone else. Nati,
Thank
maybe.
you, Nico. Nati, over to you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Natalia. I'm from Brazil, and I am very happy to be here as part of this wonderful team. And I will be working with the current theories about second language learning and acquisition. And we'll also examine learners' individual differences and the impact that it has on their language acquisition. And my subject is actually two parts. So my part is individual factors in language learning, and attributes, attitudes, and contributions of teachers and students. And the second part, my colleague Federico will be in charge, so he will explain a little bit more. And there will be a lot of reflection on this subject. We'll talk about the theories, reflect on our practice, see what our students know and what they can contribute to our classes. So Federico, over to you.
Thank you.
Well,
Nati.
thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. And I'm really glad to be part of this team. I'm thrilled about the possibility of sharing some experience on the area of learning difficulties and more specifically the special education needs. And well, having the possibility of connecting the field of health and education has to be part of our practices in the idea of having an education in which we include everyone in a classroom. We really think and we really believe that no child should be left behind. And with this motto, we really have to take into consideration a percentage of kids, of students that will have certain needs that most of the time are not taken into account. When we share the statistics and we know that there is a percentage of students that have different profiles, cognitive profiles, and require specific classes or plans in our classes, it is very important to have certain tools to, well, plan our daily classes. So it is a very important issue that nowadays we little by little we need to have as part of our common process of teaching. So we will share not only the tools that are part of this organization of a class, but we are also going to be seeing different evaluations that we are usually doing in the health area, in the sector of healthcare. You know, I've been teaching for more than 15 years, and I'm also a medical doctor and work with kids. And I've been working with kids for more than 6 years and emphasized my study on learning difficulties. And even though most of the time in education, we consider the socioeconomic aspects that make differences, sometimes we forget what happens with pathology and what happens with certain disorders that imply many different challenges for us. So let us think about this and have really inclusive classes for our students.
Thank you, Fede. And this is a sorely felt need that teachers all over the country have voiced. How can I, a language teacher, actually have a positive influence in the learning of the students, not just learning about language, but catering for their special needs? And as I said, we contextualize this program to the region, and we have with us one of our Argentinian colleagues coming to us all the way from way down under. So Maria Eugenia, welcome.
You get two for the price of one.
Oh, yeah, Marina as well. Oh,
Yes,
sorry. The thing is, Marina is from
Hello.
Buenos Aires, but Eugenia is from Tierra del Fuego. But you're together. Great to see
Yes,
you guys.
We
Over
are
to you.
together. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eugenia Carrión Canton, and I am here with Marina Gonzalez. It is an honor to be participating in this diploma. As Gabriel explained, I'm from Tierra del Fuego, and I'll be teaching from down the south. And the subject I will be in charge of is related to critical citizenship, the teaching, the importance of developing critical citizenship in teaching, and reflecting upon the critical media literacy as well. So I'm really happy to be in this opening event. Well, and I hope that I see you soon. Okay, so here Marina. Basically, I am the head of the teacher education program at the Universidad Nacional de José de Paz. And really today we were working together. I was introducing her to our new place and part of the projects that we're running together. And in the diploma, I'm so happy that we are sharing with you this possibility of participating in the diploma. And my area in particular covers two sides. One of them is the idea of materials design in terms of in times of growth, and when Gabriel said that we are preparing people for different and new scenarios, all the areas of English for academic purposes, English for specific purposes, place a demand on teachers creating their own material, and this is part of what we are going to be trying to offer to the program. And my other side relates to managing language programs and managing bilingual education. So we hope to be able to share with you all of this. So greetings from Buenos Aires, and it's a pleasure. See you soon.
Well, and we have other teachers who, unfortunately, as I said, Paula is flying literally at this time from New York to Santiago. And we have Virginia Frade as well, who is traveling home and she's on a bus at the moment. And we have Karina Zaire, who couldn't join us today. One of the things that I would like to do now is introduce to you the curriculum and give you the reasons why we put this curriculum together. And I want you to remember that this is a 1 year entirely online program, but we're going to have synchronous lessons via Zoom. And one of the strengths of this particular team is that we have all been engaged with online and distance education for quite some time, prior to the pandemic, during the pandemic, and whatever you can call the time we're living in now. So you see the three foundations of this program that give you the skills, dispositions, and knowledge to be an adaptive expert. So what does that look like in a curriculum? What is it that you're going to study? Our curriculum is, first of all, targeted to the regulations of the Ministry of Education in Uruguay, which means our program, by being validated by the ministry, will be validated by any country that has an agreement with Uruguay, an educational agreement with Uruguay. So this is why we think this is going to be an international program, not just for Uruguayans, but for colleagues from other countries as well. We have 2 semesters. Our semester starts in April. And the first thing that we want to do is a workshop on academic reading and writing. And you may say, well, I have a high level of English. I read on a regular basis, but academic discourse is particular. And we at ORT, we are a research intensive institution. You are going to be engaged in doing research, either at the diploma level, at the master's level, or at the doctoral level. So we need to prepare you for that. And in the diagnosis that we did, one of the things that we found was lacking was this literacy training, academic literacy training. So the first course is taught by Karina Zaire, who's a writer herself and a very inspiring mentor of writers. And with that, we're going to provide an introduction to the basic theories and also looking at what the writing process entails, but not the writing process as we understand it, the process writing is this, the composing process of putting ideas on paper in an academic setting and how you validate those ideas. And also at the same time, we are using this as a sort of introspective course for you to reason how we go about reading and writing in a second language. So these courses all have implications, not just for us as teachers, but also for the processes that we engage our students in. The second course is the one Nati and Fede are going to be in charge of, which are individual factors in learning foreign languages. And then Virginia and Nico are going to be in charge of the other foundation course, which is applied linguistics, that is linguistics applied to language teaching, and didactics of English language teaching, second language pedagogy. Now, as you can see, this forms a core, right? And this is what the first semester entails. What the core provides us with is the foundation upon which to build the level of specialization. We need an updated view of theories of second language acquisition that move beyond the usual and tried input hypothesis and, you know, the mantras that we live by. There has been a lot of research on how we learn languages, and we can combine that with context-sensitive methodology. What if you are a teacher who teaches a subject through English? What language learning processes do you need to generate? And there is where Karina's course is going to be relevant. How do you write for science? How do you write for history? And even if you are not a content teacher, you're a primary school teacher teaching through content, you are going to be looking at the processes of language learning and content learning as well. During the second semester, we have a course on assessment in language teaching and learning. And this is yours truly. I am in charge of this course. And basically, we're looking at all the different forms of assessment, not just assessment as testing, but assessment for learning, as learning, and assessment of learning. Following that, knowing who we're teaching, what they bring to the process, how we can teach them, what cognitive and social processes are at play and cultural processes are at play in second language learning and teaching, and knowing how we can measure the effectiveness of our endeavors, we move on to saying what do we teach these people with, right? And there's where the materials design course led by Marina is the concentration. And this is materials of all sorts. Now, one of the nice things about this program is that we planned it all together, and every single subject makes references to the other subject. So you will never take a course in a vacuum. All the courses are interrelated and send the same message. So when Marina teaches you about the approaches to materials creation, she will talk about the different contexts, the different educational needs, the different contributions that students can make, the different processes of composing pedagogical materials, like how to adapt an authentic text, etc. Following that, we have this subject that is very much geared to the needs of our students. It's called Temas Actuales en la Enseñanza del Inglés, and here is where Maria Eugenia comes on board with critical citizenship and critical literacy, where we look at management, where we look at teacher education. And then once we have provided you with this experiential and theoretical corpus, what we are doing is we are sending you off to Paula Rebolledo Cortés, one of the foremost thinkers in terms of second language teacher research, and her amazing work with Richard Smith from the University of Leeds on what is called exploratory action research. And Paula will teach you the course on educational research, investigación en lenguas extranjeras, which is not your regular research course, because for English language teaching or second language teaching, we have very specific methodologies that we apply, and Paula is going to be in charge of that. Now, once you've completed these courses, some of them are 24 hours, some others 48 hours, according to the regulations of our Ministry of Education, you are going to commit yourselves to developing a project, which call it Proyecto de Intervención, which is looking at an area of an institution where you work and trying to detect an area that you want to improve using the conceptual, experiential, skills-based, and attitudinal framework that we communicated in the program. This will also give you a first experience in research before you launching perhaps into a master's and perhaps later on a doctoral program. So this Proyecto de Intervención is tutored. Your teachers, the ones who have expertise in the area that you choose to develop, will tutor you, and we will have a wonderful end of diploma celebration with a colloquium where everybody presents the program. So if you want to know a little bit more about a program, so what's the final degree? It's Diploma de Especialización en Enseñanza de Inglés como Lengua Extranjera, which is the diploma level is the pre-master's level, right? So if you have a diploma, you can move on to doing the master's without any problem. And the specialization is specifically on what your interests about English language teaching may be. If you want to know more, we have put together a very thorough web page. The web page contains everything, step-by-step description of the program, the requirements for enrollment. You have a brochure that explains not only the diploma, but the work that we do in the Institute of Education. As you know, the Institute of Education, in ORT, has been at the forefront of educational research for quite a number of years now. We publish twice a year a peer-refereed journal called Cuadernos de Investigación Educativa. We look forward to expanding the offerings of Universidad ORT Instituto de Educación by including English language teachers and generating our own programs. Two important pieces of information. We also have standing agreements with different universities, and these are not just memorandums of understanding. We have a live agreement with Virginia Commonwealth University in the United States, where we are building, we have already had a colloquium on quality in second language teacher education. We are going to put out a series of books on teacher education. They're going to be published in the States. We are also working with Kansas State University to be able to offer, they have a diploma program, we have a diploma program. The idea is to have an exchange of students and maybe build a particular exchange program with that particular university where you do immersion in the country. We have universities in Australia, the United Kingdom. So what I'm trying to say with this is not just something about Uruguay and for Uruguay. It's sensitive to Uruguayan needs, but it has a global outlook. So I hope that we have been clear and that we have enticed you to learn a little bit more about the program and perhaps sign up for that. We're going to be starting in the month of April. But what I would like to do now is to just ask my colleagues to switch on their cameras and microphones, and let's see if we can answer the questions and answers, if there are any questions.
Personally, as you said, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for most of us, I think for the first time, to have a postgraduate diploma in the country for the region with a perspective that is contextualized but doesn't limit itself just to one particular case. I think it's fantastic, and it's a good update. We have been hearing a lot about all the things, probably in conferences and all the stuff. But I think that having a course that really puts it all together, gives sense to all that, and helps us become more professional and also develop a line of research is fantastic. And this could be a wonderful opportunity, not just to become a better teacher, but also if you are a coordinator or if you are into management, to know how to help your teachers in a school. And if you are into teacher training, also to brush up and to have some new perspectives.
Thank you, Nico. And honestly, one of the strengths that I see in this amazing team of collaborators that we have is the global outlook and their expertise with, I mean, we are all known here regionally and worldwide, and we have a network of contacts that helps us keep abreast of whatever is happening in English language teaching. And that is, I think, a value added to this program, that we're able to bring all that expertise as it is being developed to our local audiences, right? So that's our humble, but we have to say it is one of our differentials, right? That our teachers are authors of materials that are used not just for language learning and teaching, but also for learning how to teach. That our colleagues are presenting at the main English language teaching international conferences, where they either get special invited or they submit presentations that are peer refereed. That gives you, like, for example, in TESOL or IATEFL, not everybody who submits a presentation gets accepted. It goes through a refereeing process, and it's quite an achievement to be able to present in those events. And what we want to do is to act as mentors to our postgraduate colleagues so that they can take the lead and start influencing with their research and their ideas those environments. So I don't know, I have a question. We have a question. What about fees? Well, here is where I have to say, you have to contact the academic secretary, I mean, the secretary in the program, because we are the academic team, we are not the administrative team. And we keep it very much like this. Honestly, no idea at the moment. I know, and I'm going to say this for the benefit of some of the attendees that I can see who have already signed up for the interview. The interviews are going to happen. You're going to receive an email between today and tomorrow inviting you to the interview. And from there, we are going to decide on the admissions. But yes, we only have 25 places, and we are going to cut there. This is the first cohort. This is the diploma level. Then we're going to see if when we do the masters, who moves on to the masters. We already have a doctorate here in ORT, which is one of the, well, I think it's now the only doctoral program in education. So we take things very, very seriously, but academically. So if you could, Ines, if you could complete the expression of interest on our webpage, the secretary of the institute will certainly respond to you very quickly with those queries. Okay, everyone, thank you so very much for attending, and I look forward to seeing you. If I don't see you before, Happy New Year. Thank you.